Welcome to the Mike Frederick Show, presented by ARIA Health and 1490 WBCB. I'm Sean Lerman, along with head coach of the Neshaminy Redskins, Mike Frederick. The Redskins, a big 21-18 win on homecoming over Abington. You guys are now 2-2 on the year, starting to get rolling a little bit. Can you feel the momentum swinging your direction?
Yeah, I mean, we were hoping to make it a trend, right? I mean, one win was a nice thing, but we want to get going in a good direction and build off of that. Football is a momentum-based game, and we're starting to play with more and more confidence, and hopefully that'll equate to more wins heading forward.
A lot of players had a really nice game for you guys, and I think they could feel the crowd a little bit. That homecoming game, you could feel the atmosphere. Do you think that huge crowd and the atmosphere had an impact on the game?
Well, I think so. I mean, I think our home crowd's definitely an advantage, and I think it was, it was in rare form Friday night. I think it was very spirited. I think the fact that it was a close game, kept everybody in tune right till the end. And as a player, a former player, and a coach, what fans need to realize is they can impact a football game, and I think the Neshaminy Redskin home fans know that.
J.R. Stevens had that big interception return for a touchdown. The play before that, it was a really close one. He looked like he may have had a shot at that one too. And then it looked like Abington's player, I think it was Juwan Sowell, popped up and kind of gave J.R. a little bit of a shove. But J.R. kept his cool, and the next play had the interception. What were you thinking on that J.R. Stevens pick there?
Yeah, that was a big turning point in the game. J.R. had a really nice game for us last week. He's continuing to improve. Had another good game for us. He made a really nice catch on a ball that their receiver never really turned around on, and he very easily could have given up on the play, but he didn't. He played his keys and his read and made a really nice catch along the sideline. It was a big point in the football game. 7-7. They had just stopped us. We had to punt, and then to go out and on the first play or two, have the near pick. Actually, Dan Dogba, as a defensive end, kind of peeled out and almost intercepted a screen pass, and then to come back the next play with JR's pick was big momentum swing for us. And I think those are the kind of things that help the defense really play with a lot of confidence the rest of the way. It was an all-around team win. Offense, defense, special teams. We knew how good they were on the special teams component of the football game, and our guys rose to the occasion.
Another guy that I noticed having a pretty big game, and he seems to really be coming along over the last few weeks, is Harmon Yolarte on the defensive line. What has he been doing for you guys?
Harmon's getting much better. Harmon got off to a slow start at the beginning of the year, and the last 2 weeks has caused a couple of fumbles. He's been where he's supposed to be a lot of the time, and he's been competing at a much higher level. He's got the opportunity to be a very, very good football player, not just here, but in the future. But with him, it can be frustrating because at times you're not sure if he's playing to his full ability, and when he does, you can tell. In the last couple of weeks, he's got significantly better. He's playing some more on offense now, and I think that keeps him involved in the game, where it's not just, hey, I'm a defensive player, but he's always involved. He's involved in every play, every series. Not always on the field, but he's in tune to what's going on. Physically talented young man, learning the game and coming along. He could, the sky's the limit with his potential.
You mentioned forced fumbles. There was one play against Abington where it looked like it was a fumble. It looked like you guys had control of it, but then Abington got the ball back and it remained first down. What exactly happened on that play?
I needed that explained to me in detail a couple of times. And the answer to what happened was an inadvertent whistle from the official that was standing on Abington's sideline. And if you watch the tape, immediately that gentleman puts up a second down signal with his hand and comes in and gets the attention of the umpire. We didn't hear a whistle. The back judge threw his beanbag to indicate a fumble. We recovered that fumble. So the question was, when did the whistle occur? Did it occur before we recovered the fumble or after? There were a lot of moving parts. And what they determined was the fumble was out, it was a live football, then the inadvertent whistle had taken place, and at that point the play is dead, and the opposing team has the option to take the play or to replay the down as if it never happened. And obviously with us recovering the fumble, I mean the play was dead at that point anyway, but they chose to replay the down. Our concern was that the gentleman that made the inadvertent whistle call, or blew the whistle, you know, on a play that's going on in the middle of the field, in theory should not have been the one to blow the play dead. So very costly. Everybody makes mistakes. We do as coaches every day. Our players do, officials do, timekeepers do. Goodness sakes, even sports reporters do.
Broadcasters, I make plenty of mistakes.
So, you know, what I was really proud of was the fact that our team responded well, had an opportunity to, you know, hang their heads and say, oh man, that was, you know, it went against us, and, you know, that's, you know, what are we going to do now? And sort of the opposite happened. You know, they became quite spirited, and they played with an emotion. This past week, you could see on tape from the first guy on the roster to the last guy on the roster that got in the game. That was the most emotion we've played with, and this team has to play with emotion to be successful. And I was really proud of how they responded in that situation.
Some other guys that had some good games for you are Dan, Will, Dogba. They continue to go out there and just be really solid football players. Talk a little bit about what the Dogbas provide for you.
Yeah, they are. You know, they're the kind of kids you want more of on your football team, right? They don't, you know, they don't do anything that's flashy, but they are where they're supposed to be. They both provide depth on both sides of the football, offense and defense. Dan's filling in a defensive end for us right now with Bill Ritchie out. And, you know, we struggled early. A couple of those quarterback runs early were just, you know, not being familiar with, you know, an inside read play from a defensive end position when you're basically a linebacker. And he got that squared away and made a couple of nice big plays in the second half. That's Dan. As far as how Danny's been playing at fullback, he's really had a nice year. We had a couple of runs that should have been there where they were slanting their line a little bit differently than, not that we expected, but what they had shown before heading into our game. And, you know, I think heading into the next week, it's one of those things where you teach and get better, and now they've seen it. And if we get it again, I think we could spring DeAndre in a couple of long ones.
Yeah, DeAndre hasn't really gotten it going too much yet, but I, in a way, think that's a positive for you guys. Now that you're rolling, it's only a matter of time before DeAndre gets going.
DeAndre has done a great job not getting frustrated because they're putting, these teams we're playing are stacking the box, and more often than not they're putting more than one person in there extra that we can block. And you know, DeAndre is all about the team, and you know, he's a guy that coming off the year he had could be very frustrated. When we were 0-2, you know, he basically made the choice that we weren't going to go down a path of not getting better, and again made it all about the team, and you know, said all the right things as our captain and our leader should, and you know, sort of helped right this ship. He's an extension of the coaching staff. He understands that his presence in there is opening up a lot of what we're doing in the passing game. And again, you know, I couldn't have been more proud of him. You know, we needed a first down or two at the end, and he ran with such heart and desire against, you know, more people in the box than we can block. And if teams are going to keep doing that, that's okay. His numbers are going to be down, but it's going to continue to open up what we're doing on the perimeter.
One more thing about the Abington game before we take a break. You guys converted on 4th down. You converted on 3rd and long multiple times. A lot of that due to Mason Jones standing in the pocket and finding guys downfield. Does he have that clutch gene that some quarterbacks seem to have?
Oh, I don't know. You know, let's hope so. I think it's still a little bit too early to, you know, to talk about his genetics. I think as the son of a longtime football coach, he is mature beyond his years. He made a couple of really clutch throws with great protection. I think he only got hit once all game early in the first half. So the fact that our offensive line was able to provide him the time, he does have a very short memory, which is a great quality for a quarterback. In that, you know, when things go bad or, you know, we're 3 and out, or he throws a bad ball, he immediately moves on. And sort of the second and 17, 15-yard pass to Treadway was a clutch play in the game, and then I think it was a 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 8 where he made the next throw. And Zach Treadway made great catches on both of them. They were thrown where only he could catch it, and that's what you want from your quarterback. And both times he went down and made the play. We need continued solid play out of the quarterback position, and again, we haven't been disappointed thus far.
We'll step aside, take a quick break, and we'll be back with more of the Mike Frederick Show, presented by Aria Health, right after this.
The ARIA 3B Orthopedic Institute is redefining care in Center City and South Jersey. And our 50,000 square foot location on ARIA Health's Bucks campus in Langhorne features private rooms, free parking, and nearby hotels. With over a century of experience, the world-class 3Bs, Doctors Booth, Bartolozzi, Balderston, and their partners personally guide you from treatment through recovery. For all your orthopedic needs, call 1-888-ORTHO-3B or visit aria3bortho.org. At the ARIA 3B Orthopedic Institute, you come first.
If you are looking for a car, where do you go? Faulkner Auto Group at 4427 Street Road in Trevose is where to go for the best deals in Bucks County for all your new pre-owned cars, trucks, or SUVs. Go to Faulkner Auto Group. It's always Faulkner, to be sure. Go online to faulknerautogroup.com. Just remember, it's Faulkner, to be sure, for all your new cars or trucks. 4427 Street Road in Trevose. Faulkner, to be sure.
Welcome back to the Mike Frederick Show, presented by Aria Health and 1490 WBCB. I'm Sean Lerman, along with head coach of the Chamonix Redskins, Mike Frederick. And now we're looking ahead to you guys going out to Penridge and taking them on. You said that they run a version of the wing tee. Talk a little bit about Penridge's offense.
Penridge is a talented football team, and they obviously got off to a good start, 3-0, and moving the ball well on offense. They've they move it around. They've got a mobile quarterback. They've got a couple of tailbacks that can hurt you, and they can break big plays. And then they'll throw the ball over the top deep, which out of the wing tee is rare. Typically, if you're going to run the wing tee, it's a lot of misdirection in between the tackles type stuff, and they do that very well. They're exceptionally well coached, and Coach Hollenbach out there is very well respected. The kids play hard for him, and our guys know going in that they're going to be fundamentally sound, and we're going to have to take away a number of the things they do. Luckily, we've seen the offense earlier in the year, so hopefully it won't be the first time they're going through some of the plays and the reads and the fits on defense. But talented team.
What do you do when you're dealing with a truly mobile quarterback who can get out of the pocket and really hurt you with his legs?
I mean, the idea is to just keep him contained. I mean, you want to be able to keep him in the pocket and make him beat you with his arm. Now, this guy has a strong arm, and he can throw the ball deep. He tends to do it once he leaves the pocket, and they have a lot of misdirection that can get him out of the pocket. Meaning they can fake numerous plays and misdirections with multiple backs, which a lot of times makes it difficult to get them pinned in that pocket. So our cornerbacks are going to have to cover. They're going to have to cover for an extended period of time. We're going to have to get pressure on them. We're going to have to hit them. At times you're not sure if he has the ball or not. We're going to have to teach our guys to make sure that they go through their progressions, their reads, and take care of the guys that they're supposed to take care of, even if they're not sure if the individual has the football.
So if he likes to throw the ball downfield, I imagine there'll be a lot of responsibility on Denzel Hughes playing that kind of free safety center field position for you.
Yeah, there is. Now they don't do it. They don't do it a lot, but they'll take 4 or 5 shots during the course of the game, and they'll pick their spots, and they tend to be very good at it. Abington was very similar. Tend to go down the field 4 or 5 times a game. I think here we're going to see a number of flood routes. And then, the quarterback is not afraid to air it out. And, that's where they've hit a lot of their big plays of, breakaway runs. They're going to run the ball, the majority of the time. But they like the flood, they like getting him on the edge, and then they like to throw deep.
Let's talk a little bit about Penridge's defense. What do they like to do on that side of the ball?
They are, they run what appears to be a version of 4-3, 4-4. At times it looks like they're in the 4-4. which is what we've seen the last couple of weeks. They've got some athleticism at defensive end. They've got a stand-up defensive end who makes plays well with his hands, gets off blocks. And again, we're going to have to figure out once we get out there and see how they're attacking us, if they're going to again stack 8 in the box and try to take our running game away. But they move to the ball well, and again, they're technically sound. It's sort of a broken record, but they're a very well coached fundamental football team, and they're not going to give you anything easy. They were uncharacteristically made a couple of mistakes against North Penn, a couple of turnovers that I think got them behind and ultimately may have cost them a football game. It's hard to win a game when you're losing the turnover battle. But they certainly, as far as the teams we've played thus far, are probably going to be the most technically sound. They may not be able to match the team speed of an Abington man for man, but they do have team speed that you gotta be able to take away.
Well, when you have a team that always has everyone in the right place at the right time, one player for you guys that it seems like is always around the ball in the right place where he needs to be is Cale Kitchenman. What do you expect to see out of him in this game?
Cale needs to play well. Cale is a senior that is progressing as a linebacker. He seems to be getting better each and every week. He also alternates with Dan Dogba at fullback. At the end of the day, if Cale can play well inside and help shore up that part of our defense, we have a better chance of being successful. We've got a couple of D tackles in front of them that have played terrific football at times. But again, they're both first-year starters. That's Evans Klaus and Bruce Graber. So Cale really has a lot on his shoulders. He makes most of our calls in there, and it seems to be when Cale plays well and makes plays, in between the tackles and running sideline to sideline, and knocking off receivers on their routes and doing all that with proper technique, we tend to play well.
One thing I want to talk about before we get going here is the assistant coaching staff. It seems like they've been doing a really nice job. You kept the same assistant coaching staff from the previous administration here. How have you been as far as now that you've had 4 games with that coaching staff?
Yeah, they've really done a nice job. That's I think it would have been really difficult when I came in April to make any type of wholesale changes, and the fact that they were willing to come back and wanted to come back and play for me was was one of the things I was most proud of. They took on more responsibility. So Coach Wilmot has been calling the offensive plays. Coach Keeney is coordinating the passing game, so they work hand in hand on, if you like the flow of how we're doing things on offense. That comes from them. I'll put my 2 cents in here and there, but I'm more than comfortable to have coaches that want to coach, and these guys want the extra responsibility. Doing a great job with it so far, putting us in position to win. On the defensive side of the ball, we've co-defensive coordinators, Coach French, as well as Coach Weidenbaugh, and again, our defense is getting better and better every week. It's unusual to have an offense that's ahead of your defense, but in theory, we only had Denzel at free safety really coming back and starting. J.R. Stevens started the second half of the year at corner. But that's 9 guys that are out there that are either starting for the first time or starting in a new position. And for them to be able to pull that together, and defense really played a huge part in the last couple of weeks in how we won football games, getting off the field in 3rd and 4th down. And then this past week, there were multiple times where we needed stops, and they rose up. Sudden change on the kickoff return, holding them to a field goal before half. JR's touchdown. Those are things that if we can do that on defense, we're going to be in a lot of football games.
All right, Coach, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
That'll do it for the Mike Frederick Show, presented by ARIA Health and 1490 WBCB. Have a good one.